Hi, it's Tim Hagen from Progress Coaching. And today I'm going to be talking to both coaching practitioners and leaders. You know, AI is coming and it's coming fast. And people say, when AI gets here, no, AI is not even here. It's in a rearview mirror. It's been around for a while. Now, how does that affect us as leaders? How does that affect us as coaches? I'm going to talk to the leaders of organizations just for a second. Often the number one objection most of the time is, I don't have time to coach, Tim. You don't understand our industry. The fact of the matter is, at the end of the year, there's going to be a review. The training department's not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. You're going to have to do it as a leader. So what happens when that occurs? There's an impact. And if we're not coaching in some fashion up till that date, that end of the year review takes on a whole different dynamic versus someone who's coaching every week. Therefore, the employee who's being evaluated at the end of the year, there are no surprises. Now we're starting to see leaders say, yeah, I love this AI coaching thing because now I don't have to do it or I can save time. Be careful. And let me give you some proof in the pudding. When the pandemic hit us, we all found out we can work virtually. We can do our work just as much. We're saving on gas. We don't have to drive into the office. There's not work interruptions. And I cannot tell you how many times I had clients say, I'm getting my work done in like three and a half days. Now, the flip side of it is, wait a minute, I need that human connection. And when the pandemic started to subside, what did you start hearing people say? Oh, I can't wait to get back in person because we need human connection. Now, if you're a coach, I'm going to hit you pretty hard. If you are not building your own AI version of yourself, you could be at a disadvantage. If you're not automating things, you could be at a disadvantage. And there's tons of tools that do that. But what's coming out now is, how do I make this personal? How do I make this represent me and my company? So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about AI and automation. And I'm going to first start with a diagram. And I want you to think of yourself, whether you're a coach or whether you're a leader. How can you put coaching? How can you put learning? How can you put assessments, which also does coaching? How can you put these things on autopilot? So I'm going to use the term autopilot as a representation of both AI and automation. Now, AI is all the rage. Please do not underestimate the power of automation. Please do not underestimate it. Let me give you a little bit of a teaser. We have a client who loves DISC, and I happen to be DISC certified. And so one of the things that came out of their work with us is they said, we know that people, when they're in the moment, they really love DISC. They love it. But how do we keep this in front of them? So what we did is we set up a 24-week track, 2 messages every week that go right to their cell phones. I used ChatGPT. I kind of adjusted some things. I was done in less than 2 minutes. My client's like, wow, 2 minutes. I'm reaching over 100 people. I want you to just take a step back. Don't underestimate what I just said. I'm reaching 100 people. Now, let me tease you even more. We're actually going to take the CEO's voice and clone it and put that link into the text messages, a message from your CEO. I'll do all the messaging, but it will be in his voice. So we found an AI tool that we can clone people's voice. It's actually standard technology now. 6 months ago, it was probably new. Things are moving fast. So you can clone your voice. You can do things like that. So let me show you my diagram. And this is a very simple diagram, but I want you to think about yourself just for a second. Let me get rid of that caption for you. And when you think about you, how do you clone you? How do you mass produce you? And there's really 3 fundamental lanes, and there's more lanes, but let's just talk about that. So when you think about AI, you can build a chatbot, and you can build, a form of Q&A, which I'm going to show you here in a second. You can obviously show some different things in terms of, answers and Q&A, and you'll hear terms like language learning models. You'll hear terms like, knowledge base. We'll talk to you about that. And so when you think about on the left side, AI, you can set up Q&A, you can set up an interactive version of yourself, you can set up chatbots. Now let's look at that middle one. and let's look at coaching. I want you to also be aware of something called asynchronous coaching. We're doing a lot of this with our clients and they love it. And you know why we love it? We don't lose money when people don't show up for their appointments. Asynchronous coaching is where we go back and forth. People give us weekly updates. They say, here's what I did this week, et cetera, et cetera. I can respond with a mobile app talking directly to them in my voice with audio and or video. Then you have one-to-one in person, one-to-one virtual. The third leg is automation. We can automate the delivery of lessons, text messages right to the cellular device, and we can also automate assessment. Let me also share this with you. Do you know we can also set up the assessment as an interactive AI agent asking the questions out loud? Oh, by the way, the results automatically get sent back to you. I hope I've teased you enough to get you excited. This is what's happening, and it's happening at rapid speed. So let me get rid of this just for a second, and then I'm going to actually I'm going to show you a couple live examples and show you a couple different ways that you can do this. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm using a different streaming tool. So we'll see how this goes. It hasn't historically gone bad, but we'll try this out. So one of the things that we do at our company is we have a tool that is called Coach. And Coach Apply is our online platform. If you look up here, right here, right underneath the URL, and let me just get rid of this, make this a little bigger. It's about 1,000 pages. And it runs like a book. And I'm not going to give you a big sales pitch on this thing, but you can embed, videos in here. You'll probably hear this in the background a little bit. You get the idea. And so what's happening is we built this platform, but we did something really cool. And when we work with our clients, on every single page, you'll see these two icons. So when I click on this one, what this is going to do is allow you to send a message to us. So if you send a message such as, I need help, you send a message, it'll prompt you to open up an account. And then what we do is we message you back. We can send you an audio or video, as you can see here. I can turn off my camera, I can turn on my mic, etc. And we have an asynchronous conversation. We do the same thing when we work with people and teach them how to coach. Okay. Now, the other thing that we have down here is something called CAM, which is our Coach Apply Mentor. So what I'm going to do is ask the platform, which is going to read this platform. So we built out all this content. Now, if you're confused by this, don't be. So what we do is we teach a certain methodology called QALMS, which is our coaching methodology. What this tool is going to do is read and go search through all these pages. What are 3 questions for someone avoiding change? And what this is going to do is read our platform. It's going to go out and search. That's it. So I can actually take this same question. What are, let's say, 2 activities? And what this is doing, and we train our clients on this, is they're actually asking questions as it relates to our coaching framework, but what it's actually doing is providing them quick answers. That is a form of artificial intelligence. That is cloning. Quite frankly, it's cloning our content. It's cloning us. It's making it easy for them to do that. So what's really cool about that is that when you think about it, it allows you to take your content, you put it up into this thing called a knowledge base, and then you basically train your AI agent. Now you're going to hear things like language learning models. That was a really brief demonstration of it. So our clients, when we train them on how to coach, and if they have questions, they can just go right there. People use it all the time. We actually have a library system who uses it the most. I go, why do librarians use this? And finally, Tracy, who I used to report to, goes, Tim, we're librarians. We love books. And we started laughing. And I said, oh, that's interesting. People use it on their mobile device as well, so they can get quick answers. That's an example of an AI tool. Now, let's say we want to have a chat bot. Let me take you to our website. And so right down here at the bottom, let me refresh. Now we can program this to pop open, and it should pop open here in a second. There it goes. Now, we're just starting with this, but this is an example of a chatbot. I can also, talk to them. I can also fill out a form. I can also look at my history, you know, and it's really interesting. And this is giving you some of the responses of prior chats. So what you can do is actually train the bot to answer questions. Now, here's the cool thing, everybody. Oh, you know what? I never shared this. I apologize to you. Let me do that now. I wanted to go back and forth. Sorry about that. So here is our chat bot. Let me just refresh the browser. I apologize for that. So see, it just pops open. So I can ask questions here. I can also talk to the AI agent. I also can submit forms, a product recommendation form. So you can put your own forms in there. You can look at your history of the conversations that you had. You get the idea. It's really cool. And what's really neat about this is, and you can see where it gives you some feedback. And so this can actually read our website. That's why it's so important. So when someone fills this out, we get a notification. And what that allows you to do is to constantly be able to clone yourself and be there when you're not physically always there. I'm breaking down AI and automation at its most fundamental level. So let me stop the share. So sorry about that. It was a little bit of a technical screw up on my behalf. So when you have content, we don't want to do those things, right? We don't want to clone ourselves because we feel like, oh my gosh, I'm giving up. But when I go into a competitive situation, let me just talk to coaches out there for a second. When I go into a competitive situation and someone says, how do you support us? I demonstrate that to them. They're like, oh, wow. So we actually can talk to you, but we can also get answers. And I said, yeah, it gets even better. So now I want to share with you a little bit about automation. So let me show you my screen real quick. Now, Stephanie, who's really in charge, we actually have a separate division called A Squared, and Stephanie does a great job of this. So this is an example of a automation. And so I made this hopefully big enough. Let me see if I can make it a little bigger. There we go. So what this does is that when someone signs up here, you see start automation when to subscribe to list Viking self-awareness. So what we basically do is we catch information. We set up information. They register. When they register, they will give us permission to send to their desktop and to their cell phone. So when we send an email, here's the email. And so you can see how we set this up. And so what happens is then they get an introduction. You can see 19 reset, 63% open rate. We wait a day until conditions are met. And the conditions can be varying on a variety of factors. Let me come back, send a second email until conditions. And then we send our first text message. Growth starts with awareness. Ask yourself what went well. And what we're doing is we're triggering thought. We're triggering thought provocation. We're getting them to think differently in a matter of 10, 20, 30 seconds. And as you can see, this is fairly robust. So what we're essentially doing, everybody, is we're actually, let me just stop the share here. What we're actually doing is we're training people how to coach as it relates to us. Then what we're doing is we're reinforcing it with support tools with AI. And then we're automating content delivery. So when we go into a client, and I'll give you an example, and this is for leaders and coaches. When you have people who are remote and people say, oh, we just, can't sit down. They can't do virtual coaching. How can we reach these people? And I recently engaged with a company that does credit unions, or they're a credit union. And then one that's real estate that owns a lot of bars, hospitality, venues, and things like that. And they said, we want to motivate people. And I said, well, do you want to time messages right before the event, during the event? Remember to smile, as simple as that. We have one with an agricultural firm. We said, we really want to motivate people. We got 75 locations. And I said, do you want to send text messages in the voice of your CEO? They're like, what? I said, have them send me a 30-second clip. I'll clone his voice. I'll create the 24 weeks of messages that'll all be sent in his voice. It's crazy the stuff we can now do. So what I would ask all of you to think about, and let me bring this diagram back up, If you are a coach, clone yourself with a chatbot or a Q&A tool. Create an interactive version of yourself. If you are a leader, think about doing the same thing if you can. Now, if you're a leader, I would encourage you to think about asynchronous coaching and automation. So one of the things I want to share with you is that when we do our assessments, as you see here in the lower right, all of our assessments actually are a form of coaching questions. So if you're a leader and you want to learn how to do assessments and have it automated every single month, and we set it up for you and you don't even have to worry about it, and you ask them to share successes and challenges germane to a topic like teamwork, attitude, motivation, their career development, whatever you want to set up, what we actually can do is have the results automatically sent back to you. Just tell us what you want to know. We'll have it set up in probably, less than a day. And it's not even that complicated to set up. And what's happening, everybody, is AI is here, but now studies are coming out. And I knew this would, I thought this would happen. I didn't know it was going to happen. Now that AI is going up, guess what people want? Human connection. So when people are sitting there and the unbelievable reports coming out about people are not hiring as much because they're being able to automate things. If people are not learning Chat GPT or automation or AI, it is a huge mistake. But I predict leaders and coaches, they're going to need more coaching. Let me give you an example. When we come up with a technology solution, what often happens is it goes from one end of the spectrum to the other. It goes there in such a fast pace, everybody. Because what we do, oh, good, I don't have to coach. It absolves me. Or I can put everything in AI and just, sell it. And I talked to a coach who was doing this, and his sales went up and then they started to dissipate. He said, I don't understand what's happening. People love this tool. I go, people need human connection. So we're on a teeter-totter, everybody. And the way you strategically do this is to come up with different ways to deliver AI in your brand, in your voice, in your methodologies, in your philosophies, in your strategic initiatives, and then to automate as well, to reinforce what you're doing, gentle reminders. And I would share this with you. When you do that, it doesn't replace the human connection. I think the scariest thing that I hear people see, and I saw a tool and I met with the CEO and he said, oh, we're going to replace end of the year reviews. And I said, you are going to create a mass exit at a company. And this young CEO looked at me. I said, let me tell you why. Have you ever done an end of the year review? He said, I have. I said, how many? Well, not many. I don't know if he really had ever done any. I said, so you're going to automate through an AI tool with no in-person coaching. Do you think people leave their end of the year reviews thrilled all the time? He said, well, of course not. That's why we're giving them accuracy. I said, accuracy from a tool, not from a human being. The minute that tool misrepresents the employee, and it will, just like humans do, it won't always be accurate because it's predicated upon the person giving them the information, the person being coached. And the person being coached with people's 85% lacking self-awareness, do you think they're just going to calmly go, oh, this tool was so much better than my boss? No, they're going to push back and they're going to be ticked off that their boss didn't take the time to meet with them. Guarantee it. Now studies are starting to show that's happening, that will happen. So I want to share with you one more thing. And if you are intrigued by this, fill out this form. Tell us of your needs with, AI and automation and, just share, fill out this form. It's a very basic form and tell us if you're a leader, if you're a coach, we will help you. We have a course that can educate you. We also do this type of work now for leaders and coaches. If you have like a project, let's say you're a customer service person, we're announcing a new product and you want automation and you want AI to help your customer service agents always be upbeat and friendly and understand and deliver product knowledge, benefits and features, we can do that for you. Fill out this form. We will be happy to help you. So I would share with all of you more than anything that I think one of the things that's really exciting about what's happening is that when we automate things, we can reinvest in human connection. I really believe that. When I'm actually doing more one-on-one coaching than I ever have, and I'm building out AI and automation tools for our business, it actually is freeing me up time to reinvest. I'm actually connecting better with people, and I teach this stuff. So I hope this served you well. Let me know. We kept it to about 20 minutes. I'm right at 20 minutes right now. So if you're thinking about AI, automation, and you don't know where to go, let us come in. We actually do something. Um, we have like a very a low end starter block. It's roughly about $500. We come in and do an analysis of your leadership, what you're trying to achieve, or with you as a coach, what type of coaching you do. Where do you think AI could fit in, you guys? Where do you think automation could help me? And we do this analysis to build out a strategic plan for you. And it's recommendations all the way down to tools, all the way down to how we might help you or what you could do on your own, depending on your preference. So I hope you, again, I'll just put that up. Someone just sent me a message. Fill out this form. Grab it real quick, fill out this form, and we'll be in touch with you and set up an introductory call and then see what you're doing and what you're trying to do. And we'll be able to help you. We're doing this. We're practicing this. This isn't theory. This isn't us jumping on the bandwagon of AI. This is a part of what we do every day now. Thanks, everybody. Hope this was worth